Lanka is a virologist and a molecular biologist and whatever else from Germany. He got his degrees in Germany, I believe. He found the first ocean's megaviruses, which are the most compelling evidence of an actual virus, as the theory states these viruses exist. Turns out they're not even viruses, as the theory states. Anyway, Stefan Lanka is significant because he has attained his PhD in virology. I don't know what he did in molecular biology, but he did enough to be a molecular biologist. The fact that he doesn't believe in the mechanism, in the contagion effect, the transfer of disease, that is quite significant. Although this is not the most significant thing about him, because there are many scientists who have been recognized as attaining the highest level of education, official education in a university on a specific scientific subject or field in. So that's not the main significance. The main significance is he, as someone who doesn't believe in contagion, and that means he doesn't believe in disease-causing viruses. It turns out to mean that, really. Which, by the way, makes everyone who participates in this debate saying that you're wrong because you're an idiot, you are actually dumb, because that's a dumb thing to join a debate when someone has gone to the university and exhausted the educational avenue, said, I am convinced that there is a misconception underway and that viruses don't cause disease, contagion doesn't exist. That person has gone all the way through uni and he's in that position, or she. You've come along and said that I'm an idiot because I believe something that's incongruent with the majority of people's belief. I'm an idiot because of the majority thing, and because there are people who have got PhDs in biology who believe this. So that's my main point. But the main significance of the man is that he had this major court case in Germany. He must have been not going mad, but quite, maybe I would say, frustrated. Not really, but to the point where he devised a challenge to the people, the scientific community, that they can prove the measles virus exists as it allegedly does in these theories in the universities as it's taught. Specifically, that we can find this measles virus and that we can profile it to be the same size and the same biochemical characterization, and we can find it in a human that has the disease and say, yep, there it is there, that's the same size, same biochemical, all this. These are technical details that I don't actually intend for you to understand. The significant part is that they went to court because there was a physician in Germany, quite a renowned one. He's made some breaks in the medical field in a few different places, I believe. David Bardens, he found this challenge and he began working away legally to claim this 100,000 euros, because in Germany it's probably no other country that takes scientific evidence more seriously in the courtroom. So I've revealed recently. So David Bardens tried to get this money. This effectively shows that apparently there is a PhD virologist in the community who doesn't believe the viruses cause disease. He believes it's an illusion, and the majority of the world's wrong. And if he's right, that means all these other things that we've built up on this original belief, which stems back thousands of years in contagion, all these products that we've built that apparently work because of contagion, they actually don't work. Which, by the way, none of them lower mortality or outright disease in any of the controlled experiments. They categorically succeed. And they set the categories, the people who run the teams, and they tell everyone it's big science and too complex for you to understand, that you can't actually see the benefit for a layperson. Anyway, David Bardens, thought that he had scooped Stefan Lanka, the virologist, the non-believer, the infidel. So he took him to court, and eventually the district court that he went to said, yeah, actually you do make the criteria. And then Stefan Lanka pushed further and said, we shall go to the Supreme Court, the German High Court, and the highest judge there said that David Bardens did not suffice the criteria, and David Bardens tried to appeal this decision, and the highest sanity of the country ruled that there is no need for any appeal, there is no point. It is a dead end. Effectively displaying that there is this misconception between people like Dr. Lanka and people like Dr. Bardens, and it's not clear where it is even between them, to the point where one of them thinks he's claimed he's won the 100 grand that the other one legally promises, if you suffice this, that and the third and all the rest criteria, you will get this prize money. David thought he had it in the bag. The highest judge of Germany, or judges, had to come along to say, David, no, you don't get any money. Effectively showing, if Stefan Lanka is insane, the highest educational degrees, to think the viruses don't cause disease, they actually don't even infect cells. They always come from them, and it's illusion that we think that the cell originally gets affected by the virus. The cell simply just produces the virus. As far as he can see, that's his best interpretation, and mine too. David Bardens, I don't know why he didn't understand, but he effectively was snarled, swindled, finessed, and it is a really good point for the culture that this actually happened. This is a very significant thing. Just to touch on what actually, with these measles virus dimensions, you might think it's a trivial matter, but every virus apparently infects a cell and reproduces all these offspring viruses. With slight little mutations are expected, are theoretically going to happen. When we find these viruses of any kind, like measles, there's always all these different size structures outside of the cells, but allegedly the virus comes along, is one little structure, lands in a cell, and then catalyzes certain actions that the cell take it in, and the cell ended up dismantling it, and then it's still all just catalyzed. The virus is not an operator, there is no mind, it's just protein or fat, and from it the cell allegedly reproduces the same kind of virus that infected it. It reproduces the same virus, heaps of them. What the average number? I've tried to ask professors in this field and they haven't answered me. It's like, well, don't ask. Like, that's a wild question. No one actually even cares. So the offspring viruses, as theoretically, they should be very similar to the virus that infected the cell. When we infect cells and we come along and find all these disrupted cells, and we originally put some virus in there, we find it's disrupted cells, all these little spherical objects, particles on the outside of cells. Some of them are small, some of them are big, some of them are darker, some of them are lighter, by what we can see in the picture. This does not look like a litter of viruses. This looks like, if it was a litter, it's like a dolphin gave birth to 4 different kinds of species, or else one of its babies was this big, the other one was like that big, and they were all cloned. There was no father. Or if there was a father, the father was the same. Because in this analogy, the father is the egg, the mother is the virus that come along. They had 200 babies, all different sizes. But if the cell's going to effectively be infected by this virus, it's going to follow this program and produce these same kind of viruses. Why was the virus successful in infecting the cell and it managed to produce like some offspring that were twice the size of the others? Is that just a really major mutation? Because it seems to be happening in every virus photo that I've seen. And mind you, all these photos of viruses you think you see, they're actually animated in a computer. And any video especially. So yeah, that's like, it's like a little sus point, the actual dimensions of the virus. That's just one point, and that's like the step. I think that's the major point Stefan Lanka brought to the courts. But the whole thing is cooked. Just like 100 years ago, when our ethics were different, we never got any animal and reproduced or imitated a realistic kind of interaction with microbe and animal that we think this microbe causes this animal disease. And I know I'm saying viruses, according to my belief now, my best guess, that they don't actually infect any cells, but I'll pull them in as microbes. No microbe at all was introduced to an animal in a realistic fashion and thenceforth caused disease. And I know you cannot be sure when it's that small, but you can be sure when you've got 100 animals here and 100 animals there, and they're exactly the same strain and health and age and weight and all of that, and they're eating the same food and the environment's the same channel of wind. This one had a virus sprayed in the air, sprinkled or chucked on the ground or put on the pig's back, and that's the only difference between these two groups of animals. These ones had significantly more amount of this same kind of disease that the virus we introduced allegedly causes, or is unequivocally associated with. That's the major cook point, but I don't know how that would go in court.